Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. So good to be with you today. Um, we are so excited to have this lesson for you today. Today, we're going to talk about being different but not divided. And the tagline, as you saw in the thumbnail, is coping with different opinions. So we're being different, but we're not going to be divided as we cope with different opinions. We're going to take the lesson text from Romans 14 and 1. Let me give you a little background history. So this is around the time when I believe Paul was wanting to come to the Romans because he didn't through Spain. He didn't have a time. He was not able to come through, but now he's able to come through. And he was kind of writing to them because I guess he had heard about how the Jewish believers of that day were in a situation where they were so dogmatic about their dietary needs. Like they only eat certain foods because it was this is how we eat it. We have to eat it like that. We don't do nothing different than what we eat. We praise like this. They were very dogmatic about that. But the Gentile believers, they felt like, hey, I'm free in God, so I can eat pretty much anything I want to eat, and I should be I believe in his grace, I believe in his love, I believe in, so I should be able to eat anything I wanted to eat. And in some way, both of them have great opinions. The problem is that, it becomes to be an argument when they're using their uh, 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 thought process to what these people thought process, and you're trying to bang your opinions, uh, to make people believe what you believe. So today we're going to talk about that. In this video, I believe that if you stay tuned, you're going to learn some great things because I know there's a lot of us out there who we have conversations with other people on our jobs, other people in wherever we go in our church and whatever the case may be. And sometimes, a lot of things, even in the hood, even in the culture, in the communities and stuff, people have opinions about things all the time. And it's amazing how we're getting divided because of somebody else's opinions, whether it be political, whether it be in the church field, whether it be in the family, whether it be wherever platform that you use as you go through day to day, business deals, whatever, love relationships. It's all about people having their own opinions, and rightly so. Your opinion is your opinion. Your opinion is your opinion. Your truth, that's your truth, right? You can believe what you want. You can opinionate what you want. You can even express to me or whoever your opinions. But the deal is that I also, or you may also have an opinion that could be different than what the other person's opinion are or is, however that may be, right? So here's where the problem comes. When you try to make someone believe your opinions, right? Not saying your opinion is wrong. Not saying that your opinion is not true. I'm just saying, you know, the way I see that perspective is not the way you may see it, and we may have to learn to disagree. And in other cases, it might be to the point where, you might believe one thing and I might believe something else, but if you get it down and dig down deep, you'll find out that we believe in the same thing, probably in a different application. And we have disagreements, or people have disagreements about those type of things. So today we're going to make sure a few things that we don't get through that. So in this video today, you're going to learn how to disagree without disrespecting them. They can give you their opinion, you can give them yours, But sometimes you got to walk away from the table with disagreeing, but that don't mean that you got to disrespect them, right? You also going to learn how to protect a relationship when opinions are different. Just because my opinion doesn't work with your opinion doesn't work with my opinion. That doesn't mean that we got to walk away from this relationship. That we've married, or we've been business relations, or we're this relationship, or we're that. That don't mean just because I have a different opinion than you that we don't no longer continue our relationship, whatever relationship that might be. You also going to learn how to stand firm for what you believe without turning every disagreement into an argument. You ever been with somebody who every time you try to talk to them about a subject, no matter what the subject is, it always turns into an argument, always turns into a disagreement, right? And you got to learn how, or hopefully today, you'll learn how to stand firm. I'm still going to believe what I believe. You still going to believe what you believe. That don't mean that I can't stand firm on my deal without having an argument. Let's have a calm conversation and let's just, you know, let me hear your view. You hear my view, right? I may question your view. You may question my view. Okay. But at the end of the day, when we walk away from each other's presence, then it is what it is. I might still don't see your view, or you might not see my view. But I'm okay with it. You should be okay with it. Walk away from it, keep on moving, right? Come back tomorrow and go have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich together, something like that. And it is what it is, right? So we're going to try to learn that today too. You also is going to learn how to keep your integrity when someone tries to disassembles your opinion. I know that there's a lot of people out there that feels very bad when you done harped on them about your opinion. No, you wrong. It's got to be like that. It's got to go this way. We got to run it like this. Got to do it like that. And the other person's like, well, I understand that, but if we do this, no, that ain't how we gonna do it. It's gonna be like this. Sometimes you walk away and you feel like, wow, man, I like, do I question my opinion? Do I question my truth? Do I question uh whatever because they harped at me and I might be looking at it wrong? Do I question? So your integrity is shattered about that. Let me tell you something, my friends. If you believe what you believe, might be right or wrong, but if you believe it until you get the proper truth of that thing, and I do say this, keep trying to find the truth in your belief. Even though you believe it, you get out there and you have those little debates and stuff. Well, stay true to your game. If you believe what you believe. But again, when you're in your house, or when you're in what we call is the shed, where you're learning, you're practicing, you're looking at your values, you're looking at your thoughts, you're looking at what it is that you are. When you're doing those things, make sure you go back over your truth in your own secret place, your own private place. Check that with the authority that you got that truth from, and see if the authority is telling you the truth. And if you got your opinions from what that person said or what that authority is that you got your truth from, make sure that it's correct. But stand firm when you know what you know. And until you know better, stand firm on what you know. Okay? So you don't want your integrity to be lost when someone comes in and tries to dissimulate, or try to put your opinion down. Okay, you should know your opinions, whatever they are, and the bottom line is it's your opinion. You can say it, but we just got to learn to be in a world where people, because you said an opinion, that don't mean that it's gospel for me. Or what if I say an opinion, that don't mean it is gospel for you, right? I can only believe what I believe. Now, for me, What I try to base my opinions off of is only by the truth, only by the one who made me. When he says this is how it should be, I gotta believe that, and that's my truth. Now, if somebody else come along and they see it a different way, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to understand. But if I don't agree and it don't fit the math, if it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you're coming at 9, 5, 3, -2, 5, and 4, if the math ain't fitting, then I can only just listen to your opinion and then walk away and like, okay, well, I don't agree with that, but we all good. Okay. So our lesson text is going to come from Romans 14:1. And it talks about like I said, how Paul was. And so that scripture, let's read what that scripture says. That scripture says, I'm just going to read out of the Passion translation. And it says, and refuse to engage. Now, this is Paul talking to, you got the Jewish and you got the Gentile. They sit up there arguing about, hey man, I'm gonna eat this steak. No, don't eat that steak. Hey man, I'm gonna eat this food. No, don't eat that food, man. That's not how it's supposed to be. We're gonna do it on this Sabbath day. No, man, no. You know what I'm saying? So he's saying you gotta refuse to engage in debates with them concerning nothing more than opinions. See, that argument that they were having in Romans 14, those are just opinions that they're going through, right? And if you search it deeper, you'll find out that in some ways they are both right, some ways they are both is questionable. Could be some ways, right? Because some people study just the law, but then some people are going by the human factor. And if you know anything about Jesus Christ, he is a human, but he did stay within the laws that was, made for us, in this world. And there's a different adaptation to that I don't want to get into today, because I can talk about how we started with the laws, but then how God talks about in Romans, I believe as well, where he talks about there's no need for a school teacher to do these laws anymore. But that's something totally different than what we're talking about. But today we're talking about the opinions, right? So he says, and again, and refuse to engage in debates with them concerning nothing more than those opinions. And some of you are still debating with people about their opinions. And he said, man, that's you're just going through some foolishness with all of that. At the end of the day, it's still going to be what it is, right? So that's 14 and 1, right? So we know everybody has an opinion. And like we said, you have opinions about relationships, you have opinions about politics, you have opinions about parenting, money, music, food, church, sports, clothing, and how other people should live their lives. You always got an opinion about how they should live their lives, and they got an opinion about how you should live yours, right? One person thinks the room is too cold, while the other person thinks it's too hot. And then y'all go back and forth. Man, it's just too cold in here. Man, no, it's too hot. What do you do? Do you keep arguing about that? At the end of the day, you still either hot or you still too cold. One person believes we should make a decision immediately. Another person believes we should slow down and think about it. Right? And y'all go through all of that. Man, we need to move quick. The other people say, no, I don't feel that. Let's hold back for a minute. Let's get more information. Let's let time go by. It ain't time yet. Whatever, right? That's a heated battle. Another one is neither person necessarily has bad intentions. They may simply be looking at the same situation from two different perspectives. That's what we said. Sometimes y'all might be on the same page, but you're arguing because y'all not speaking the right words or the same words. Maybe your truth about something has a different perspective than and it might be both right, and y'all might be saying the same exact thing, right? Today, people will stop speaking to one another, unfriend one another, leave churches, divide families, and destroy viable relationships, not because someone commented or committed an evil act, but simply because somebody had a different opinion. They'll leave the church, they'll get into a fight. I've seen people uh, get in trouble because of speaking against their opinion about our government. And something happened where they get in trouble for that. And they're just speaking their opinion. But it went to like I'm using that word again, to a dogmatic situation where there was some action taken. You probably know somebody today who been through some things and they would talk their opinion, but when they talk it, they're just talking their opinion. It ain't got no ain't nothing gonna man, they just talk their opinion. You probably just talk your opinion, and they went and did something about it. That's the kind of world we living in today. We can't be like Martin said, can we all just get along? But I feel that some people can't because they have agendas about behind their opinions. And like we used to say, my dad used to say all the time, hey, it's just my opinion. My opinion is my opinion. Can't go wrong with me saying my opinion. But nowadays, sometimes you can go wrong with saying just your opinion, even though you might be right on the subject, right? So there's been a lot of things that's been happening. A lot of evil acts has been committed, but simply because somebody had different opinions, right? So we talked about Romans 14. Some believers felt comfortable eating certain foods while others did not. Some considered particular days more important than others. Paul did not tell them that everybody had to think exactly alike. He taught them not to allow personal preference to destroy their fellowship, right? So, step one, you got to know the difference between the truth and the opinion. The first step is learning what an opinion is. An opinion is a personal belief, a judgment, a preference, or a conclusion. It may be based on someone else's experience, feelings, information, or understanding, right? So know what the difference between the truth and an opinion. And this is where I think most of the argument comes because you could be telling the truth, but I could be telling an opinion. So my question to you or to that person would be, what are you basing your opinion off of? What is the source that you're basing your truth off of? And if the source that I or you find out that is not a credible source, then at that point, then what my opinion might be versus your opinion would be, hey, I'm going to stick to my opinion, but you still have you. Now I can try to help you understand why I believe what I believe or what my opinion is versus my truth and how I can show you that. But if you're dogmatic and don't want to hear it because you're just stuck on what you believe, then the thing is for us is to walk away with that or just drop it and go on to something else, right? So uh step one, you got to know the difference between the truth and the uh the opinion. Step two, listen before you respond. Many people do not listen to understand, right? Sometimes if I say the sky is blue, you are already on my throat. How the sky blue, right? But you didn't listen because you think the sky is gray. And we might be in two different places. I might say, hey man, the sky is blue. Ah, the sky is blue. It's gray over here. But you didn't let me finish because I was going to say the sky is blue, but it seemed like some rain's coming and I could see some grayness coming in. See? Now, if that person would have just waited and listened to the whole fact of the matter, then maybe they would have gotten the answer that they were looking for and we would have both agreed. And then maybe if I didn't say it, then that would be the time at that point to understand what I said first. Then you can come in with your point. But not raising your voice, not being an aggressive, Just say, I understand your opinion, and I understand that you said the sky is blue. I understand all of that. But let me show you how I see it. Now, if we are two intelligent people, I should be able to speak my opinion and you listen, and then you should be able to come back with your opinion and I should listen. See, this is what sometimes be wrong in courts. When you go to the court system, sometimes, the judge gives you the opportunity to tell your side of the story. You got the defense side and you got the plaintiff side. You get to tell your side of the story. But a lot of times when you ever seen where the first person says, no, we were going down the street and I turned right and the light was green. And as soon as I turned, that guy just came right behind me and just banged me right into the thing. No, that ain't right. That's not true. Oh, he lying. He lying. Oh, she lying. She lying. And then the judge get to look out. He's like, hey, order in the court, right? It's because you didn't sit and listen. If you listen, sometimes this is what I've learned. Sometimes when I listen, I could see smaller details that will not collaborate what your truth or your opinion is. Then I can be strategic in changing my opinion, still being the same opinion, and then coming at it the way to where I can prove to you that what you're saying is not true. So sometimes we got to just listen. It's a technique that you have to learn how to listen before you respond because you want to understand what the other person is saying really deeply and you want to listen to what they respond. And God will give you the wisdom that after they respond, He will show you how to fill in those blanks where they are wrong, where everybody walks away understanding what's going on. And we might be on one accord if we both just learn how to listen. That's step number two. Step number three would be separate the person from the opinion. Oh, this is good right here. You got to learn how to, because you say it, uh, I'm going to understand that it's just you talking to your opinion, but that got nothing to do with your character. That's got nothing to do with your personality. That's got nothing to do with what we've built, who we are, what we are together, who you are with them. Got nothing to do with that. It's just at that particular time they speak an opinion. So you got to learn not to carry the opinion that you're going uh that y'all have different opinions about. Don't carry that into every area of their lives. You get what I'm saying? Like you might see somebody that says, oh, don't talk to that person over there. We've been friends for 40, 50, 90, 80, 3 weeks. We've been friends for 3 weeks. But that person over there, they think that, this, that, and the other. And so I don't even deal with them because of that little thought. But all the other things that y'all had together, whatever relationship that was, y'all were getting along pretty well. So you got to learn how to separate that person could just be having a false opinion about something that needs to be corrected. They may have a truth opinion about something that maybe could not be expressed in the right way to make you believe that they do know what they're talking about, or it just could be there just ain't gonna be no way to come to a resolve to that situation. But that doesn't mean because we don't resolve the situation that we got to resolve the whole relationship in its own. So you got to learn how to separate the person from the opinion. That's step number three. Step number four, control your tone. This is what we were just saying. Control your tone and your emotions, right? The technique is to learn how to speak your thoughts, your debates, uh, your opinions, your truth, right? With low tones or normal tones, and be able to present it with the dexterity or posture that will get the word out, and you can speak clearly your opinion, your, if they disagree or if you disagree, nobody should be raising voices. Nobody should be getting all upset. Nobody should be throwing over tables. Nobody should be pulling out guns and knives, right? Because we come to a disagreement. Shouldn't be nobody while the preacher's up preaching, you coming in there and you tearing up the church. Why he's wait till after it's done. Be low key and be able to express. So you don't have to be arguing. You got to be fussing. And if it does get to a heated where it starts to get, a little bit heated up, best thing to do is to stop in the middle of your sentence and maybe walk away, maybe keep quiet for a minute, maybe pray within yourself and calm it back down and approach it again with normal tonality. So control your tone and control your emotions. Because once now some babies, if I'm not mistaken, when you act or even some pets, we go there too. When you act a certain way, like very rigid or timid, or very like you get ready to do something, they can sense that and they react accordingly, right? When you're in a heated argument with your mate, your spouse, or your loved one, if you go up on a certain topic that you're all talking about, and you go up in emotions, well, then that's going to cause them to go up in emotions. But I like what the scripture talks about. He says a soft voice turns away wrath, right? So when somebody's going up high, as our first lady Michelle Obama would say, you go low. She doesn't mean, just agree with what they're saying. No, she says, hey, let them have all that energy going up there. You stay low key and just kind of just take it even keel. Because at the end of the day, you are who you are. At the end of the day, your relationship, your brand of how you promote yourself is still your brand. Ain't nobody gonna take that away. So control your tone and your emotions. Step 5, know when to end the discussion. If we're going round and round and round and round and round and round on a subject, and we 20 minutes in and we're going round and round and round and round and round on the subject, and we 40 minutes in and we're going around and we're going around and around and around on the same subject, and we're an hour and a half in and we're still going around, at some point you're going to have to get to a point to say, you know what, I'm going to pause this conversation right here. I'm going to leave it right here on the table. That's what Paul was telling them. He was saying in 14:1, he says, y'all going through all these round and roundabouts. He says, man, don't even waste your time going through all those round and rounds. We'll call it that today. We call it round and round. I'm calling it round and rounds. You going through these round and rounds, in your opinion, man. If you go on most of these cities in your area, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, sometimes, and you go down to the to the hood section. I'm talking about the real ghetto section. You got them probably in every state. There's somewhere where you can go to the real ghetto section and just sit there for about 3 minutes. And you would see all the ones that live on the streets. They're sitting there and they're talking backwards and forwards. And if you listen very carefully, you understand all they're talking about all day is opinions. This person believes that person believes this, and they go round and round and round with this. I'm gonna tell you one that's been going on for years. And it's still going round and round and round. And it's still a debate. And when people say, especially in the sports arena, they say this: Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, or Michael Jordan and LeBron James, or Kobe and LeBron. It's always this going around. Well, who was the better? Well, I think da 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 da. No, he can't be because he did. And I think that, see, and y'all just go round and round and round and round to where we almost 15 years still talking about the same conclusion that nobody will come to. Sometimes you won't come to a conclusion because it stays to be an opinion. Well, at some point, you gonna sit there and waste your energy on that, or are you gonna say, you know what? I got some pork chops cooking at the house that my baby that made me some pork chops, and I'm out here arguing with you when I got some pork chops smothered with gravy and some green beans at the house. I'm gonna end this conversation right here, and I'm going home and where I can be in a place where I got to keep myself in peace. That's another thing. Keep yourself in peace at all times because these uh, opinions and these things that we're talking about, it could pull you out of your peace, and it can cause someone to be calling cops. It could be to where you're in the hospital. It could be to where they call in the morgue because you arguing about a little simple little subject that if you get each other, y'all get mad about each other for the topic that y'all talking about, and then you feel like the other person feel like he been disrespected. He pulls out a gun, he shoots you, and then they walk away, and it's like, yeah, that joker don't tell me what I know. I know what I know, right? And then five what 5 weeks later, the one person is dead, the other person is in jail, and guess what? The discussion y'all talking about is still have not been resolved and won't be resolved. So what's the purpose of going through all of that? So you got to be in a place where you keep your peace at all times. But the whole deal of that is you must learn how to end that discussion. Okay? All right. Now, let's go with 5 questions. Number 1, is this a biblical truth, an established fact, a personal conviction, or simply my preference? So, this is the 5 questions is an opinion test. And what we're going to find out is, or what we were asking is, before I can make a judgment about things, like we had just been saying, number 1, I'm going to ask that what you said, does it have any biblical truth to it? Is it an established fact? Is it a personal conviction? Or is it simply a preference? Question 2, you would ask yourself, have I genuinely listened to the other person's opinion, thoughts, and his process? Have I genuinely listened before I make my opinion? Have I genuinely listened to what they were saying? Okay. Sometimes you can defer a problem when somebody says, "Hey, man, I think you're wrong, but you are." This is how I see it. I da 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 da, and I see it this way. Da da da. You could come back and say something along the lines of, "I respect what you're thinking, and I will consider what you're thinking, but I still feel ba da 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 dee da 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 da." Totally different than what you think. See how I diffused that? I heard what you said, and I respectfully gave an ultimatum to the fact that I respect your opinion. I disagree with your opinion, but that's okay. Okay. So, did I genuinely listen to the other person? Right. So, question number 3, am I responding from wisdom or wounded pride? Oh, that's a good one there. Do I really know what I know? Or am I coming back to you because you embarrassed me or embarrass somebody, or you got embarrassed in front of people, right? So sometimes you can react from that. So you got to learn how to try to keep your cool because some things can get very heated. So, uh, are you responding from wisdom or are you responding from wounded pride? Number four, will my words strengthen this relationship or will it unnecessarily damage it? A lot of, again, relationships have been broken off because of opinions. I know a handful of people who believed and said one thing and it didn't wasn't the truth, but they believed it. They they portrayed they spoke that to the other person. The other person disagreed right off the bat, and they went into a debate with that, and they ended up losing friendship because of stupidity. So it's, are you responding? Or will my words strengthen the relationship or would it unnecessarily damage it? Got to be careful about that. Step number five, can I disagree and still demonstrate the character of Christ? Remember, I told you, if y'all disagree, walk away, make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then call them tomorrow. Hey, man, we going to the movies, we going to the da 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 da. What we doing tomorrow? And let that subject be what it is. Now, if they bring it back up at another time, then you can politely say, you know what, uh, I care not to discuss that. It'd be best that we don't. Let's talk about something else because we're not going to get a resolve on this. So let's talk about something else if you don't mind and never get to that subject because we're at a point where the loose ends are loose ends. So, I still want to demonstrate to you that we can agree to disagree, as they say. But we're gonna still listen, man. I got something for you, right? I disagree with what you said, but listen, I got something I want to help you out with on something totally different. You said you needed that. I got that for you. I was working on it all week to get it, and I got it for you. It had nothing to do with what we talked about, but this is something totally different. That's showing the fact that I'm still loving that person, or you're still loving that person. Okay. Um, those five questions could save friendship. They could also save marriages. They could also save families, churches, and business relationships. Now, let me close with this. For the next 7 days, when somebody expresses an opinion that differs from yours, do not immediately react. Okay? Pause, listen, ask a question, consider their perspective, respond with truth, dignity, love, and self control. You do not have to surrender your convictions. You do not have to pretend that every belief is correct. You do not have to remain silent when truth needs to be spoken. But you should never allow pride to turn every disagreement into a war. Because we can agree without disagreeing, or we can disagree without becoming disrespectful. We can stand for truth without treating one another as enemies. We can hold different opinions and still maintain healthy relationships. Our opinions may be different, but our differences do not have to divide us. We can be different without being divided. Uh, the end of this chapter of Romans, I wanted to read in 19 because it came to the point where when he got to Romans 14 and 19, Paul ends up with these people going through and arguing and stuff. He says, listen, let's make every effort to do what leads to peace and mutual edification. See, my job and your job is to keep edifying each other in Christ, right? We got to come to a peaceful resolution. And when we get to that peaceful resolution, we got to then still build our sister, our brother, our friends, our family members. We still got to build them up in Christ. Still got to encourage them. Even when it comes to your kids, you and your kids may have arguments and disagreements and opinions all day long, but don't get to the point where you tell them, I told my son many times, I don't agree with what you're doing. I don't like what you're doing. Get out. Get out. And go out there and learn a different opinion in the world because you're going to see what I'm talking about. What I'm teaching you, son, is everything that my dad and mom taught me. And I'm trying to teach that. Well, I don't want to listen to that. I don't like that. I don't understand that. I don't want to do that. Okay. Well, then you go out there and you do exactly what you say you want to do at your age. Not even 18 yet. Go out there and do what you want to do. I guarantee you, I know what's going to happen. The world is going to tell you, the opinionated world is going to show you that what you're talking about does not work out here. And so he went out there and he did some things and discovered some things. He didn't leave the house. He still, I want y'all to know that I didn't put him out, but that was my anger saying, get out, right? But at the end of the day, as he was doing his daily routine and his daily activities, there's some things out there in life that showed him, not now, that showed him what I was saying was correct. Now, he didn't come back to me. And I know sometimes we be wanting people, I be trying to get my wife to say, you know what, Dad? You were right. You were right. I'm not trying to be right. you know, I'm just saying if you would have listened to me the first time, like my dad would tell me, we wouldn't have been going through all of this. Right? So Paul in 14 and 19 was saying, hey man, listen, try to make every effort to do what leads to peace. Because at the end of the day, like we said, your opinions sometimes may not even matter. And sometimes your opinions may change somebody else's life. I heard what you said. I took what you said. I heard your opinion. I meditated on that and I took it to heart. And guess what? My whole life has changed because of what you said. And here's a good jewel. If you stay always on the truth side, and always on the side that God says to do, right? When you come in discussions with other people, guess what? You can always win your opinions because you're not based on your own knowledge, leaning to your own understanding. You're leading it unto God's or to the Creator's understanding. That's what Jesus was doing all throughout his life. The Pharisees, the Sadducees, the Jewish communities, all the other communities, they thought that they had it going this way. He would come in and he would kind of show them, you might be right, but I can show you from it this way. And a lot of people did not understand what he was saying. They did not agree to what he was saying. But you know what? Guess what? Jesus Christ didn't argue with them. He didn't have a debate with them. Why? Because he knew what he was talking about came from a truth that he was living every single day. So his opinions always was built off of truth. And every argument that he won, even though he lost, he still won because it was still the truth, no matter what they thought or what they didn't believe or did believe. So we got to learn how to be different but not divided. Okay? Learn to be different but not divided. Don't divide this differentiality where you know what I'm saying. Don't divide it. Differentiality. Difference. I gotta get that word. But don't divide that because somebody's different than you. Don't don't cut that loose. Learn how to come together and come to an agreement. If you can't come to an agreement, live with the disagreement, but live in peace at the end of the day. All right. All right, guys. That's our lesson for today. We hope everybody is doing okay. We hope everybody's doing well. Um, and we will talk to you guys on another broadcast if the Lord is will. Have a good one now. Later.